We like to build up all the anticipation.
Wait for it.
Let's say hypothetically that I don't know anything about fly fishing.
Yeah, right?
It was like this instant 8-way man crush.
I'm on the fence.
The time we've been doing this podcast, I've never seen Uncle Buck perk up his butt. It's dolphin procreation. Like you just flipped up out of your chair.
Yeah, he just blew out his blowhole.
What are you talking about?
And that's pretty much my dream coming true is to actually meet you guys.
Yeah. Well, I'm the humblest guy I know.
Work and do trade shows in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. You meet some pretty wild guys.
You blew it! I'm the worst PR person ever. Fire me.
Welcome back, everybody. You are in the current.
Hey, buddy. What's going on?
Fancy meeting you here.
We are the Rutten River Pursuit podcast, your home for all things epic in the outdoors, as I like to say from time to time.
You have, yeah.
Who do I got with me tonight?
This is Dave.
I'm Will.
Uncle Buck.
Hey, and I'm Ryan. Fellas,
What's going on, bud?
how you been?
I'm good.
Deeky, I haven't seen you for a while.
It's been like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Been out and about.
2 weeks feels like a long time
I know.
away from this crew, doesn't it?
It does. It's good to be back, though. It's nice to be around this table. Nice to be talking about the outdoors.
Speak for yourself.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
I hope. It kind of hurt.
Oh, get over it.
No, it's okay.
Well, where have you been? What have you been up to?
1 week I was in Colorado checking out some stuff.
Places for us to
That doesn't-
hunt along the Milk River?
You know, like current day Colorado, when you're just checking out some stuff, means something way different than it did Colorado 5 years ago.
We were at a concert. We did some hiking, some sightseeing. You know, it was a good time.
Got noted.
Where'd you see this concert at?
At Red Rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not just
pretty
any
epic.
concert. It's a pretty awesome concert hall. Like the best sounding audio I've ever heard.
Natural.
Yeah. It's
Other
just,
than this podcast.
Yeah,
natural.
yeah, exactly.
Thanks.
Thanks, Yamaha.
But yeah, the audio in that and the performances were great. I mean, why you watch this? Well, the sun. You don't really watch the sunset. It sets kind of behind you, but you can see Denver down to like the city off like from like the skyline. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty awesome.
Sunshine State.
Yeah, but it was a nice. We
that's the right
landed. Yeah, it's not it at all. But we landed. It was 97 degrees.
I thought the Rocky Mountains would be rockier.
John Denver is not accurate.
Man.
Saw a big shrine to him at the at Red Rocks. They had like a nice little museum going on of John Denver, like a little tip of the hat to him. I guess he played there a bunch of times.
Were you Rocky Mountain High?
No, not at all.
Colorado.
Nope. But it was definitely harder to breathe there. I'll give you that. It was,
You mean you didn't pack any PRBCs
no
to take with you?
I think what?
Packed red blood cells.
Oh.
You can, like, athletes have been known to, like, that's how they can dope naturally. They will, like, pump.
How do you pack them, though?
You give yourself a blood infusion with the PRBCs, packed red blood cells. It's a part of, when you donate blood, that's one of the three components that they will.
Plasma is one.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so blood doping.
Fresh frozen platelets, and then you're packed.
But you have to take it through an infusion. It's not like
Not
pill.
a pill.
Right. No, you can't take a pill. You have to, it's like an organ transplant, really, when you're getting
I would
a blood
need
transplant.
like a mule
But pack mule.
to back mine up.
We
Who's that? That's just Will's blood Sherpa.
Blood Sherpa.
blood Sherpa.
Heme Sherpa.
Sorry. Didn't
Oh,
mean
no-
to
no problem.
derail you there.
Yeah, but there was a lot of people cycling in like very high altitude, which I was just like, good for you, bud. Like that's amazing. I'm having trouble walking from the car to like, a flat trail, and not trouble walking, but trouble breathing, and you got out of breath a lot quicker than normal.
You're like, you should see me at sea level. I'm real tough.
And they're really, really tough. But we did one trip up to Mount Evans, which was 14,000 feet at the parking lot. So that was pretty awesome. And there was like another half an hour hike to the very peak. That was just
Was there
gorgeous.
any snow on the peak yet?
Not the peak we were on, but like other ones
You could
around
see
us. We could see snow all over the place.
That's amazing to me.
There's actually some
wanna
snow
go there.
below us, like downhill. When we were driving up, we saw some patches of snow. And that's actually how I noticed some elk. Because I'm like, that patch of snow has like raisins moving across it. Because this was like a good mile away.
Okay.
Snow
all right.
raisins. is
And
in my band.
I'm like, what is that? And like, it's moving.
Are you trying to sneak some snow raisins in on this view?
I was thinking of California raisins. I was trying to come up with something.
Just
clever.
singing. Yeah. But then we got closer on another switchback, and I could see that it was elk, and they're still like 800 yards away. It was great. It was pretty cool to see.
Through the grapevine.
Saw some mountain goat. And
Nuh-uh.
yeah. We were really excited because driving up the switchbacks, we're like, in the car, we're like, there's a mountain goat. There's two of them. And we're all like, have cameras out, taking pictures. And we go up a little bit. We drive another 10 minutes. There's some more. Get to the very top. And like, we parked. And I saw some people that were like near the parking lot. And there's like a bathroom on the other side of them. So I'm like, I needed to go to the bathroom. So I'm like walking past.
Go on.
And I didn't even notice it, but there was like a mountain goat right beside the sidewalk on the way to the bathroom. I'm just like,
So you cut in line in front of the goat.
yeah, pretty much. But no, like they're all
Sorry.
the people were getting like way too close though to these goats. And like there was some park rangers telling them to get back up because they would get rammed. But
Yeah, I experienced something very similar to that. When we were in Tennessee, in the Great Smoky Mountain. I couldn't believe how dumb people were.
Yeah.
When there was a bear.
Oh.
These are bears.
Yeah.
People. Oh my gosh! Look how cute they are. Oh, here's the two little ones. No, it's like I'm telling my kids, I'm like, get back in the car. Come on, we're gonna keep driving because we're gonna read about some of these people tomorrow. Like,
and then on the way back down, after we're driving back down, there's like a traffic jam. Here it's two bighorn sheep in the middle of the road.
That's cool.
And people were trying to get close to them, and they're like double the size of the mountain goats. They're big.
Yeah.
And they have the big horns going on too, like nice full curls.
Big curls, yeah.
And they're like trying to hand feed them. We're just like, you guys are going to get hit so hard. And we kept driving off after, we saw that. But just beautiful area. We pulled up to this mountain lake. There's a guy fly fishing there. And like right as we're pulling up, he's catching a trout. It was just very picturesque. It was great. Very nice trip.
What
Too
they
short.
call that? What do they call that?
A naturegasm.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're thinking-
exactly.
It's like everything that you'd ever want in real life.
Exactly. But we stayed around Golden, Colorado. Very nice town. There was like
Did you tap the Rockies?
I was just going to say,
yes,
isn't
we
that the-
we toured the Coors Brewing Company facility, and that was phenomenal.
I have to ask you, does Coors truly taste better?
Well,
Or does it even taste?
It's-
First, let's establish that. Does it taste?
But
out there?
you're in the woods and a tree falls down.
it was beer.
So make a
Yes,
sound.
definitely. The Coors Banquet beer is better, and that's like brewed right there. I mean, everything we taste tested was brewed right there. But I was just impressed. Like the whole facility was like miles long, and because they do their own. What is it when you like take raw aluminum and you make it into an actual aluminum can? Like they
Smelt.
Manufacturing.
Yeah, they
Smelting.
smelt the aluminum to manufacture the cans. They make the glass bottles all at this facility in Colorado.
Is that the reason for the smelt die-off where you guys
Up
were at in Canada?
Yeah, I bet.
Because Coors was like, we need more
Mining-
cans.
They were mining the smelt.
But I was just impressed with that. Everything was from the creation of the bottle, of making the bottle to the brewing of the beer and packaging was all done on site. And I brew a lot of different beers. I was surprised. Like Killian's is all brewed by them, Blue Moon, all these other like quasi microbrews
Yeah.
are all brewed by them.
Is the appropriate term for that macro brew? Is that a thing?
Oh yeah, that's the big ones. Yeah.
Yeah, like the big
Bud Light and
I thought that
like
the
what would
fake
be,
microbrews were what
yeah,
we
like
call
Blue
macro.
Moon.
I don't know if they refer to them as, but they're the ones that it depends on how you look at them. They're the lucky ones that get bought out and never have to work again.
Yeah.
Or, well, yeah, Sam Adams put out a line that I fell victim to, I guess. Yeah. I thought it was a true microbrew. It was Rebel Yell or something like that, IPA. But then at the very bottom, it's like Sam Adams. Got me.
One awesome thing that I really enjoyed about Golden, Colorado is there's a stream that flows through the town, and it actually did like a habitat restoration type thing. I don't know if it'd be habitat, but they created infrastructure within the stream. So there's rapids and there's obstacles within the water. And so they had, people were whitewater kayaking, stand-up paddleboarding, and tubing all through this section of town. And they would just, tube for 200 yards, get out, walk back up 200 yards, and do it over and over again.
Sounds like a nice little trip for your high school buddies.
Yeah. But I just thought that was a pretty neat way to create water feature and something to do downtown. Yeah, because it was some pretty good rapids, and guys were in kayaks, just doing front flips in a wave pool, and it was very impressive. But cool area.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what'd you do last week then, Deeky?
Last week I had a meeting I needed to attend and could not miss it.
Not near as exciting as
No.
I like the
missing
Colorado story
yeah,
better.
Yeah. But I have been I've tried something, and it's all because of you, Buck.
Wait.
Okay. So you put the bug in Stevie and I's ear for trolling bottom bouncing rigs early spring.
Mm-hmm. Is this the worm harness thing?
Yeah, with the worm harness.
Okay.
So I had 2 days, actually 3 times since I've seen you guys. I've had a couple quick little hours that I could get out to Marburg.
Just to test the engine?
Yes.
Okay.
And
it wasn't worth letting you guys know about, right?
Yeah.
well, I'm trying to
just running out.
I'm
real
trying to
quick.
figure out this whole technique.
Okay,
So
you should figure out exactly how to catch all the fish before you invite us down. I got it.
exactly.
That's a good plan.
So
You mean fishing without your buddies?
yes.
He calls it doing his homework.
That's a technique. Yeah.
But I've been figuring out how to catch white perch out there. I really want walleye or something else, but the white perch are biting and pretty aggressive, and it's starting to figure it out. And it's been a lot of fun. And I'm gonna have you guys out there soon.
Are you trolling for those as well? Or?
Yeah, that was all trolling on the bottom bouncing rig with worm harness, which I was very surprised because I thought I'd just try to go out for walleye. But there's a lot. The population of white perch is pretty high at that lake.
Yeah.
It's a good bite.
Yeah,
Yeah, we wouldn't know.
yeah. And they fight too.
And I hear they taste pretty good.
They do taste pretty good. But this past Sunday we were out, and Dana and our daughter were out on the pontoon boat, and we were trolling, and the lake was packed. It was like Sunday afternoon.
4th of July stuff.
Yeah, I mean, just boats everywhere. And we have a 10-month-old, and I'm trying to fish at the same time, so that's already calling for a disaster. But we're going around this one point, and the finger underwater gets shallow, and you can't. It's all underwater, but it's pretty far off the tree line and the water edge.
There's a place in California named Dana Point.
Oh yeah, nice.
Just wanted to bring that.
This is the other one. So we're going around this edge, and all of a sudden, both rods just go down real hard. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? They're just going, they're not pull and drag, but they're just bent over. So I throw it in neutral real quick, and we're still drifting. The one rod just flies out of the rod holder. And I'm like, uh-oh, what do I do? And everybody on the boat's like, what's going on? I had my cell phone in my pocket, threw that on the one seat, and just dive in after this rod.
Oh.
And by the time I got in, and like the boat's still drifting away, and the other one's still bent over, and the rod was on the bottom at like 20 foot of water. I'm underwater, grab it, come back up. It's still here. Both rigs got hung up on this edge of this point, and we're just hung up and just bent over. But Got the rod back.
I
though.
thought you were going to tell me you had like a big old fish on
I
it.
wish.
State record.
Yeah, I wish.
State record rock shelf.
But so I saved a rod. That's about all it's been going on lately. So
Nice.
yeah.
Been busy little beaver there.
Yeah, he sprung into action there.
Yeah.
I was worried. I did not want to lose that rod, but wasn't anything.
This isn't one of those instances where you had your GoPro running,
No, unfortunately.
or you
not.
just not sharing the film.
No, it's not.
I would love to see that.
There is like when I fell in while we were wet wading the other day. That that's all. On
Oh, there's
footage.
some of that.
Oh, no.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
it's-
guys went wet wedding the other day.
Oh, we did.
We could talk about that.
We could.
How did that go?
It was good.
Did you get an invite, Buck?
Yeah, I had commitments.
You should have been committed for not being there
Yeah.
because it was amazing.
It was good.
Yeah, it was a good day. I think the general consensus was that we didn't catch as many or as big a fish as we did last summer.
I don't.
But it was
you know
our
what?
first outing.
I don't necessarily think that's true. Like,
Okay.
Kyle got into a big one.
Well, yeah.
all of us got like 5 and 6
Yes.
kind of fish. So I mean, we've caught more, but that's pretty.
That's a good day.
That's a good average for everybody. Because
Yeah.
sometimes one guy will catch that and another guy will catch 2.
double digits or
Yeah.
whatever. But there's always one guy doing whatever. But like
We're all pretty even.
5 and 6 fish.
Yeah.
Across the board. So I thought about that. I was like, that's not a terrible day. It seemed terrible. It seemed to.
We started off really slow. That's
started off
probably
slow.
What's in your head about it being a terrible day.
I didn't think it was terrible at all.
No, I'm not saying that,
Yeah.
but it did start off slow, and then I went absolutely cookie cutter will
Bananas.
fishing. Like where like wow, 4-inch Kitech all day long.
Yeah.
And I didn't try top water. I didn't do anything. And then, like I said, it was very slow. And then finally Ryan's like, 3-inch Kitech will. And it just sounded, that's how he sounded.
I did say it just like that.
I ran out, and it was the certain weight of a jig too. I'm not sure it was my smaller weight jig because
Yeah.
I don't want to say if it was a 1/4 ounce or an 1/8 ounce, but I ran out of those that size. I had
you downsized.
I had 3 in my box, and they only had a bigger size, and that did not work.
Yeah.
That was not right for the conditions at all.
The luck that I had was when I was downsizing everything.
Yeah.
With the exception of the hula stick. There was a time when I went up in size, threw on a hula stick, and I caught one on the first cast. And I'm like, oh, hula stick's turning on. It just happenstance because
Right.
that was the only one on the hula stick.
And catfish, in his like catfishy
Yes.
prognostications.
You guys are going to want to throw pink today.
Pink today, boys. And I think
none of us had pink though.
He's like the only person who has pink Z-Man.
Well,
Now we know.
it's good that he's not here to defend himself.
Yeah, but I mean, I've never ever once, he's always guided me. Hey, make sure you pick up that peanut and butter and jelly. It's going to be great. Why don't you pick up that chartreuse and
Well, I mean, there's things that you hear, right? So if the water's really, really clear, you want to use dark colors. That's where your peanut butter and jelly comes in. It's got purples in it. The blacks are great. When it's a little murky, you want to go with something real natural. So you go with the green pumpkins
Right.
and a little bit of shad color. So it's got a little flash to it. And then the complete opposite side of the coin is clear water, real bright day. You want bright colors. So you got your chartreuses and your whites. I've never heard pink.
I don't think
before
I've ever
that
even
morning.
seen pink. Yeah, and then he just whips out this picture and this massive bass hanging off the side of the bass is this pink Z-Man.
Didn't know they made it.
But no, it was a beautiful day
Make
to
sure
wet
you
wade.
grab some on the way, I guess.
Now I've seen like the pink / bubble gum Zoom Super Flukes, and I've just never thought about even thinking about picking that up.
I have a pack of those. I've never caught anything on them.
And that's why I don't pick them up.
Should have thrown them.
I didn't have
morning.
it with me in the wet wading bag.
That's why you bring everything with you.
I don't see how you guys can pack all that stuff.
I always overpack my bag.
Yeah,
And
I have that tendency.
I have the dry case 10, which is like this kind of super little.
That thing is so sweet. I've got a dry case bag.
Yeah.
And it's phenomenal. It's the big backpack one. I forget what the size is on that.
I love mine.
And I use it on the regular. But when we're wet wading, I need that 10.
I said, I kind of remember saying that this is the one for wet wading.
Hey, good news. February's coming right around the corner, and I know a couple guys that'll have a stand.
Hopefully they come back. It'd be great. Anyway, I use the dry case 10. The only unfortunate part is that I pack it full, but then it takes me forever to like leaf through it all to find what I was thinking I should probably use.
See, I only carry 2 trays, like of the 3600 size Plano trays. Mm-hmm. One is all hard baits, so the poppers, the whopper ploppers, the plugs, jerk baits, crank baits type thing. The other one is all jigs and hooks, and there's like a space where I can put packs of soft plastics, and there might be 6 or 8 packages of those, and that's it. That's pretty much all I carry. And most of the time, other than color selection of soft plastics, I have the realm of everything to be able to. And that's what I carried when we were in New York for Soda's Point.
Yeah.
And luckily I had in it what we needed for New York for pike and for bass up there. So
if you can get your stuff downsized and still have room for that 6-inch plug with 3 treble hooks, I'm pretty impressed. Every time we go out, I feel like every time we go out, I feel like I redo my gear.
Right.
I go through it again, and I try to downsize.
I got to downsize.
But here's what, I got to keep everything in reality, right? I got to do a little reality check because it's taken me 18 years of archery hunting to get my bag the way I want it. Like my archery bag, there's no messing with it. We can talk about it one day, what I've got, why I have it. But it's perfect. Downsized to perfection. Right. I need to do that with my wet wading gear.
Right.
But every time I do, and I start to add stuff, like, well, what if I need this? What if I need that? And I've got crankbaits. Why do I need a deep diving square bill crankbait to go wet wading?
Yeah.
You don't.
I don't. But as soon as I go to take it out, I'm like, well, there's a chance I might throw it. You never know. What if DK's got one? And
I fell in a hole back there. It might be deep enough to run that.
We saw Kyle go up to his chin in water. That's how deep some of these holes
There were definitely holes that I could have used that crankbait in, and Kyle was standing in most of them.
Yeah.
No, I need to go through the bag. The other thing that I think happened to me, I bought a bunch of stuff for Canada that I thought I might use, and now I know I'm never going to use. I ended up using all my Kytex and 4-inch paddle tails and blah, 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 and Z-bands. All that stuff works up there too. And I just fretted, and I bought a whole bunch of stuff and it's just, I don't know. I don't know when I'm ever going to use it. So anyway.
You fall back on that throw what you know.
Yeah, I'll get it all out and
that's
streamline.
really why I only have like 6 to 8 bags of plastics. I mean, other than color selection, it's what I like to use. It's nothing, it's some Ned rigs, it's some paddle tails, it's some tubes.
But it was fun to get back out on the water. And here's where I want you to just keep it in check, though, Will. If you compare where we ended the season last summer into the fall to this past week, there's a pretty good difference in the quality and the numbers of fish that we were catching. Right. So this was our first excursion. It's just getting ready to kick off.
One thing that I couldn't figure out, and each fish was different, if I'm throwing upstream, across, or downstream. I caught fish every way. So the presentation and it was the same bait. It got to be the Kytek. I caught most of the fish. I think 90% of the fish. And it was every presentation of is it going across current? Is it going down current? Is it going up current? That was kind of bothering me. I didn't know how to approach different holes or some eddy marks or some ripples with how to toss the bait. And it, no matter which way, it kind of worked, but to key in on it.
They weren't exactly where they were last year. I had some go-tos, where the top and the bottom of the islands, top of the stream, the bottom of the stream where it's kind of slack water. Even though they just weren't there. They weren't
and some of that goes, I think, to the water levels, right? We hunted. We fished this exact same.
Actually, when you're wet wading, you're
hunting.
You're
That's
hunting
true.
fish.
Absolutely. You have to read the river, and you target them. So yeah, it is very similar. But
we put on a bass drive.
We fished this exact same spot last year, and I mean that water was up. I actually am willing to say almost a foot over where it was at when we fished it last year.
Sure.
So the difference is going to be, and I know Catfish has emphasized this to us, it's like when that river drops, it forces the fish into the deeper holes. So it's like they congregate more. So if they've got more water to swim in, they're going to be spread out and they're not going to be in these little pockets. Congressional pockets,
if you will.
It was definitely a fantastic day out. It was good to be out on the river again. My son appreciated it. He came along.
He did pretty well too.
Yeah.
I think he did better than he did last year, right?
He tried to swim back upstream because when you turn to come back to the vehicles, it was rough. Right?
It was a grind.
It was a workout to get back up. And he at one point said, "Here, hold my rod. I think it's more efficient to try to swim upstream." That lasted for all of about 30 seconds. Yeah. And then he stood up and said, "That's not more efficient."
You gotta experiment.
Oh yeah. We had a good time.
He's learning.
So Bucky.
Yeah.
What have you been up to?
I've been climbing mountains. Not climbing.
Really?
Not like
you got out of the water.
Not like Golden, Colorado mountains or anything.
But you got out of the water and went to the woods.
Are you Appalachian High?
Close to Appalachian, so I guess we are in the Appalachians. So
you might want to rephrase that.
Darn near on
smack
dab on top of the Appalachians. Will mentioned something this past week, and I happened to buy into it 100%. And he said, I'm gonna treat this year prepping for deer hunting like we treat the Great American Outdoor Show.
All right. So you're going to give it the business.
It's business this year. And because this little parcel of land that we've been blessed to have the opportunity to not only hunt on, but to actually not experiment, but to put everything that we've learned into action.
Sure.
And it has some unique terrain, and it changes. You were up there. You came out with us, you and Hunter, and with Will and I. But Will and I decided that we're going to make this a business, and we're going to do it right, and we're going to hit it full force and not let it the season sneak up on us like last year. So therefore, choices are being made.
I don't think it snuck up on us last year, but I think we dipped our toe in. Like this year, it's going to, it's full. It's a little bit more full bore.
Well, I heard.
To be fair,
I heard a lot about this property last year.
Mm-hmm.
The outings you guys had, the sightings, the opportunities, the connections that you guys made, and it sounds like a great place. Mm-hmm. So I was actually really looking forward to an opportunity to go up and take a look at it. Let me just say, did not disappoint.
I did. I needed you. I needed you on this one.
You guys talked about, what you had up there, and Will said, there's another section of the property we need to go take a look at. And he looked at it a little bit last year, and he wanted to get another perspective, another set of eyes on it. So I was like, you know what? I've got some time.
I've got eyes.
Let's do this. So I tug along, and I came up with you boys, and you've got a nice little honey hole going on up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And what you've done with it up until this point is great. I mean, the way that you've got some things set up, and your cameras are out there now, so you're getting an inventory of what's around, what you should be looking forward to. It's going to pay off, and you keep putting in the effort. It's going to pay off.
It's a shame if we don't put in the effort. It's a shame if we don't shoot. It's a shame if we don't make sure that everything's where it needs to be, because not everybody has.
It'll be disrespectful.
It's downright disrespectful.
Downright.
I mean, we, especially in Pennsylvania, to have this gift. I mean, this kind of land, and it's close to home.
I mean, it's comparable to other people, but I'm saying it's private property, and we've been lucky.
Yeah, but if you guys can go in and trim stuff, and you guys can right,
we can work.
I can't do that on the property I have permission for. I can't. I can put down, some supplements. I can't do anything to the fields. I can't create a food plot. So if you guys have that opportunity, that's pretty awesome.
And we're able to go walk it on a weekly basis. Like we found water sources that we wouldn't have found if we hadn't been out there that day. I don't think.
What you're doing is you're putting into effect all of the stuff that we talk about, right? Like, you've got a property, you're quasi familiar with it in a way. You've hunted it before, you're comfortable, everything's great. But if you put boots on the ground when it isn't directly impacting your hunting, take the time, put in the effort, find the trails, find the new spots, find the sign. You guys are doing that now, and you're putting into practice the things that we talk about on this podcast. And I think this year and in the future, it's going to pay off for you guys. Maybe nobody connects with the giant buck on that property, but I promise you, compared to what happened from last year to this year, the effort you're putting in, if nobody connects, somebody's going to see a monster.
Yeah.
And maybe it's, okay, we got to make one more move in the chess game, and next year he'll be in the truck.
Yeah, I'm hopeful that some big things are going to happen this year for us out of there. And I don't mean big buck things necessarily, but in general.
Oh, yeah.
I'm anticipating a lot to talk about.
I'm anticipating that myself.
Awesome.
To hear you guys talk about it.
Yeah,
we are getting close to time.
No.
I'd love to talk about this property ad nauseum, but we have to get to a little segment we like to call Better the Hunt Topic Hat.
I love this part, guys.
Yeah.
This is where we kind of...
Sounds like it's a shaking.
It's a shaking. Deeky's got her rolling.
Okay, guys. Pulled out a topic.
And the Better the Hunt Topic Hat says...
Go to betterthehunt.com.
Early fishing memories.
Oh, boy.
I will go first.
Told you this would be a good one.
Because
I knew it.
I just had a conversation with my dad 2 days ago about one of my first fishing memories, because I kind of relived it in a way on Tuesday with my son. I remember being probably 10 or 11 years old. My dad bought a flat bottom canoe, which is still, I have access to that. We can take it out this weekend if y'all want to. But I still have this flat bottom canoe from when I was about 10 or 11. We went out to Pincho. My dad caught, at the time, I could only imagine, the biggest fish I've ever seen. It was a giant catfish that we caught at Pincho, and we took it.
Bigger than yours?
Well, that was probably not. But
probably not.
I like to let my dad feel good about himself. I'm like, it was the biggest cat. It was state record. We just didn't weigh it in. But it was probably a big channel cat. But I remember that we took it and put it in a cooler, bought a bag of ice into the water to try to keep this thing alive. I mean, catfish are pretty resilient, right? We kept this fish alive, and we took it to a pond just down the road from our house and released it on this farm pond. And we fished in that farm pond every day for the rest of the summer trying to catch that fish again, because we had so much fun catching it on Pincho. And we never did. Story didn't really pay off at the end, but
Yeah, but
I was
it's a
just
memory.
telling my.
you had me
100%.
hooked until the end, and you must have a
You caught
barbless
me
hook on
a
there.
lot like your dad did. That catfish.
That catfish. But I actually just told that story or relived that story with my dad the other day. Yeah, because Hunter caught his catfish then with catfish.
With
At
catfish.
At Pincho? No.
No, this was
This
at
was
Lake Mead.
Oh, on your hooky day.
Yeah. We can get into that, but we probably don't have
about it. Oh,
we probably don't have time.
I didn't know about it.
I didn't play hooky.
Sorry, Brad.
I had an appointment.
It certainly wasn't an early fishing memory.
No. That was
like
pretty recent.
early in the morning.
But it's funny that your earliest fishing memory was a catfish as well.
Yeah? How about you, bud?
I didn't personally catch this. I was on the boat with my two of my uncles and my cousin, and we had broken away from the rest of the family. We had always camped out at Table Rock Lake for a week, and we would spend the time boating and just spending time with the family. And in the morning, the uncles would go out fishing in the morning and whatnot. But we happened to be fortunate enough, my cousin and I, to go out with my two uncles to go check the trout line. Trout lines are legal out there.
Ooh.
And for those of you locally who may not know what a trout line is or ever fish it, it's a line of hooks that you string from one under a submerged tree to another.
And it's trot, T-R-O-T, right?
Trout line, yes.
Not like a trout.
Not like a
I've
trout.
always thought it was trout line. Like everybody knows the song. I always thought it was
You're going to catch catfish on a trout line?
run a trout line.
Yeah. And you put a couple rocks in the middle or a third through and a third through from each
You
end
can skin a buck.
keep it down. And I'll never
run a
forget
trout line.
them running that. And, you start at one end and you run it like you would a net. And
What is a net?
It was, it's akin to Jocelyn feelings. And they said, it's heavy, but it might be the rock. Next thing you know, we come across a huge old snapping turtle. I think it was the first time I've ever seen a snapping turtle that big,
Nice.
like a manhole type cover in my eyes back then it was. Mm-hmm. But just when we thought, that must have been the turtle and we're coming up to the rock.
The rock moved?
The rock, not only did it move, it moved and it pulled the boat with it. It was a 30.
Gave you the people's elbow.
30-pound catfish.
The rock.
The rock.
Wow.
It was a 30-pound catfish.
That's pretty awesome.
You'd want to talk about wide-eyed and mouth drop and whoa.
You were like, can you smell
the catfish?
What the rock? It's cooking.
But story short, went home, fed the entire family a fish fry.
You did have it then?
Oh, yeah, we
Nice.
ate it. Oh, so good.
That's awesome.
So good. So, it was family memories. It was good food, and it just the whole impression that left on me is like, golly, that.
Yeah.
I wonder what that'd feel like on a rod. And that whetted my beak to try it someday.
Yeah.
Do you have an early memory where you caught a fish, or is it
Other than
kind of been
not really until early memory? When I was in my 30s, when I was started to really seriously fish. But then those memories came one after another. Where catching crappie.
You're
and
still
learning.
catching them.
Yeah,
Those memories.
but not young. Not like I remember catching a bluegill once or twice, but that was on my own with a worm. And don't fall in. Wear your life vest when you're down at that dock. Just nobody teaching me, so it wasn't really fun. I didn't have a memory to share with anybody, so it wasn't really that big of a deal.
right?
So.
If I could segue, those early fish for me were absolutely sunfish.
Yeah.
Just having a
Bluegills.
bobber and a worm being, I don't even know.
Strike indicator.
First grade, kindergarten, second grade, hanging out with catfish. There's a little pond that we would, it's a little hike, but you never thought about it. You were going fishing,
Right.
You just, it was just bluegill all day long.
Little 7-year-old catfish.
When you get tired,
Let me tell you about this swabber blubber.
That's a pretty good 7-year-old catfish.
In the
just
future.
for the record.
Yeah.
You're going to want to isolate that and save it for later.
Or
Put that in the time capsule.
or he beats us all up for it.
Well, that'll be that too.
We would fish, and when we got tired of fishing around that little pond, we'd skip rocks, and and my mom would take us down and make sure we had what we needed, and I think I remember just catching on to, I don't remember my mom like hovering over me too much, like bait and hooks or anything like that. I think we were able to catch on pretty quick, and I just remember sunfish for days. It was kind of an old farm pond that that the farm had been wasn't there anymore. It was kind of gave way to a little bit of development.
I feel like you might have had some of your snake fears may have started around that pond.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Well, we had a stream just off to the side of that paralleled that pond, and we played all day long in that stream.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I know for a fact, I can't say for certain, but I can vaguely, I've either had weird dreams about that place or actually seen some snakes, but I mean, we were literally just so small when we were there.
Knee high to a grasshopper.
All but a grasshopper.
Well, I guess that leaves Deeky. Where are you at, bud? Where are your memories?
I have two that are pretty strong. I know it was like the earliest, but
I used to make my own lures and pitch them at bluefish.
No.
So I was born into a family that had a yacht club.
Okay, I'll skip that story. No. We were members at a private. It was a private lake. Like it was just wasn't that
Lifetime members. So go on.
It was a fly-in.
It wasn't even like close to the size of Lake Mead. Like it was like half the size of that, and you could only have electric trolling motors on the boats that were there, and like it was very small. But they had a swimming area and a dock, and I just remember, like you said, catching bluegills all day. Like I remember, like mom would be like, here's the thing of worms or some bread or some like cheese or something, whatever. And then you got to come back at lunchtime. You got to come back to like the blanket at the swimming area.
It was probably blue cheese. It wasn't even like American, like
It was
crap.
It was Velveeta.
Singles.
But you could do Velveeta on a treble
Could,
hook real
but
easy.
not like they spent more on their cheese.
Oh,
Yeah, it was blue Velveeta.
You're right.
No, not at all. But I do remember like gut hooking a Sunny and like running up to the lifeguard at the swimming area and be like, I can't get this unhooked. And like the guy was just like,
He was hot.
I'm not here to like take care of you fishing. I'm here to like be a lifeguard. Like leave me alone. But yeah.
This fish's life is in jeopardy.
Yeah. But it's just stuff like that, just being let loose around a fishing area.
That lead to your hatred of men.
No. I have no hatred of anybody, bud.
Oh, gotcha.
Not being a Pennsylvania boy, though, can I ask you three Pennsylvania boys a specific early memory fishing question?
Yep.
Since we're on it. Trout fishing, first day. Tell me, since I didn't grow up in it, and I obviously have such an underappreciation of the trout fishery here in Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about your guys' early trout day, like that opening day, like it's buck season. Like that's still like blows me away.
Yeah, even before, like long before we got that flat bottom John boat or flat bottom canoe that I still have. Before any of that, it was trout fishing. And that first day of trout was something special. I mean, we got up super early, went for breakfast. I had a little guy fishing vest.
Did you have waders that were like as tall as you?
No, because we fished from the bank.
Okay.
But I also remember it was the covered bridge by Messiah College outside of Mechanicsburg.
Yeah.
And what I remember the most is glass mason jars with minnows.
Okay.
And we used
Do you
minnow.
have like the one with like a string on it too, like through the cap?
No, this was
Okay.
like glass.
Yeah, actual
jars.
heavy glass,
Yeah.
heavy gauge glass.
Yeah,
Okay.
like I think we just finished the jelly in it the night before. Type mason jar.
It's
And
basically sardines.
right, I also remember using it like a seine net,
Yes.
not a crazy one,
It was it was insane.
but using the seine net or the minnow net,
No, it was sane.
and
It was
kicking
good.
up minnows and catching them to put in these mason jars.
Oh, nice.
And we would, we had like a weird little minnow rig, kind of like
That mullet rig.
it's kind of like that mullet rig where you would put it down in through the mouth of the minnow and come out through the vent hole. And it wasn't a treble hook. It was
We
a
call
double
that a
hook.
hind end.
Yeah, it was the vent.
hindquarters.
Yeah, but you would go into that piece anyway.
Yeah.
Fishing minnows, and we would have a little tub of night crawlers. I remember it was like a cardboard box, but it was hard-sided cardboard box that we had the minnows in, or the earthworms in.
Nice.
I haven't done it in a million years, but seining minnows is like the most satisfying thing I think a man can do.
Well, you catch other stuff too, not just the minnows. Like you catch some crayfish. You catch like you can see. Like,
I made a seine net.
Different fry.
Yeah, like the
I've got 'em in my garage.
macroinvertebrates too that are under the
do it.
rocks. You pick
I
all
love
those
it.
up. Like you see like the mayfly larvae and nymphs, stuff like that when you're seining for minnows.
Anyway,
Thanks, guys. I mean,
the minute, like seining for a minute, like you just set up the net.
Yeah, and do a minnow drive.
Yep, you do a little minnow drive. You guys are kicking rocks up. You're stirring up the water. Things can't see very far.
That's how I learned what a fall fish is.
And you get
Was in
there,
those minnow nets.
you get to the end, you pull it up, both of you, you and your buddies pull it up, and it's just, fish flying everywhere, flapping everywhere. And it is super satisfying. I can't describe it other than that. Like, it's just, and then if you did a good job by 100 fish or whatever you end up kicking up. Back to Phil's question, though. Trout, for me, was super special because my grandparents lived on a trout fishery, a very, very popular one in central PA. It's called Yellow Creek. And I think there's a couple of Yellow Creeks. This is a small one that feeds into the Juniata. And it's in Louisburg, PA. And it's also the same area that my other side of the family, on my dad's side, would come to that creek as well. So I was never far from my grandma's, or during the first day of trout. So I'd either spend the night there, or we'd stay in a tent, or we'd stay in a truck. We were always there super early, and ready to go, and way before first light.
like, did you guys even sleep the night before? Like,
Barely. It's like Christmas morning.
yeah,
man.
that's like, see, this
Barely.
is the feel that I wanted to get. Like,
For me, I wasn't allowed to go until I was 8. And
Okay.
with the family at the cabin, and like I went trout fishing like to the derbies and stuff with Dad, like pond, but like going up to like Perry County.
the rite of passage.
Yeah,
trip.
I had to be 8 years old because I could more or less, air quotes, take care of myself while I'm with everybody else at the cabin. And I remember I went with my great uncle. He was like the head of the cabin at that time. And my grandma was one of 12, so it's her side, her brothers, their cabin. And I went over to my great uncle's house, and he handed me a 9-foot fly rod with a push button reel.
Okay.
Okay, so it's one of those automatic reels. So, and this isn't like your ultra light, like nice, like 3-weight fly rod. This is a cane pole of a fly rod. It wasn't cane, but it was a solid South Bend fly rod, and 9 foot. I'm 8 years old and I have a 9-foot fly rod. And
Nice.
he's like, okay, this is what we do, And this is how he always catch trout. He would use corn, worms, power bait, and
Bread.
So, a little bit of bread sometimes.
That's a big hook.
In that order.
It's
those
like a
baits,
Thanksgiving meal.
He'd use one of those baits, and he on a fly rod though.
Trout cornucopia.
So he would just, and the reason for the fly rod is you just loop cast it upstream and drift it back down. So there'd be like, an 8-foot piece of line off the fly line, and a split shot and like a size 10 hook, and that's pretty much it. And in his backyard, he showed me how to use this fly rod, and that morning came like 2 weeks later was we're up at the cabin Friday night. It's all excitement because at the cabin with all the guys, and Grandma was there, and some of the other ladies, and first morning comes 8 a.m. Everybody's around this stream catching fish. My great uncle, like I'm probably at like 5 fish, and like it was 8 at that time.
Wow.
And I remember it was like 10 o'clock, and he's like, "Here, put this one in your bag," because he like gut hooked one, and he already had his limit, and he was just filling up my limit then too. But that's a lot of like that was. And we still go up there now. Like it's still a couple of my cousins, a couple of my some of my other distant cousins that are all up there from that same generation of family, or from that same family tree that still go up. So
that's awesome, guys.
That limb.
Thank you guys for going further and talking about trout season with me. I missed that, and I envy you guys having that first day, that deer season. But
we'll get you out there this year, bud.
Yeah, man.
Maybe someday I'll
even pay for your trout stamp this year.
I might have to. He's not spending them.
For the record, Uncle Buck buys a trout stamp every year, regardless if he even targets trout or not. I do.
Okay. I know if we had to pass a collection plate to get you a trout stamp this year.
No.
There is maybe I don't have kids. Not maybe I don't have kids. There is a certain amount of that kind of lost its luster over the years. In all honesty, I can't say I get super fired up for trout like I do bass, or
But watching you guys talk about it, though, you can see the little kid in each one of your guys' eyes. That took you guys back.
It does come. It does come with youth and with kids, because while it might not be the first day, you talk to Addie, and she's going to tell you about the kids fishing derby that's at Lattimore, and she gets to help load the fish in the water from the trucks. The trucks come that morning at 7:30. Fishing starts at 8. They help net the fish, drop them in, and then they're catching them. And it's not. I mean, most of us are fishing stock trout anyway, but it's an adventure for her. So she'll remember that kind of stuff too.
I do love it. I mean, there's something about that time of year with the water being so cold and so crisp, and a lot of times clear.
And that morning always seems to be cold. Like that first morning, it
doesn't seem that way.
It is
just
cold.
is.
Yeah,
it just is.
Definitely.
No, I there is a mystique to that, and sometimes it's just it's that blurry time in the weather where warms up during the day, but it's real cold at night, so you get the steam and the mist coming off the water, and there's nothing like it, and it can be hit or miss. Fishing can be terrible or it could be just amazing, and,
right? Yeah.
And some guys always have the luck, and other guys never seem to catch on, and it's just this gigantic.
Which guy is Stevie? I wonder.
He'll fish. I don't think he cares. I mean, like he'll fish and pitch like at a stick, thinking it's a trout, And I don't like. He's fishing. That's
they're rising over here.
Like no, I didn't. There's no fish over there, bud. Use my glasses. You know what I mean? But no, Steve.
I got my cast master. I'm ready.
He's come full circle. When
I'm
I
only
was
doing it because he's not here.
Right. Yeah, you gotta bust a little bobber whenever you can get it in.
I think he'd get his feelings hurt if we didn't.
I would hope.
But I remember, I fished with him real young, for trout in particular. And
him and Neil Young.
Neil Young,
Yeah.
Steven Stills, Holden Stills. Yeah, all those guys were great trout fishermen.
Yeah.
No, anyway, kidding. Stevie and I fished quite a bit for trout, and he's the guy I go to whenever I need any kind of, he's my trout guy. You know what I mean? Like, I have other relatives that are great with trout. They do fly fishing, things like that. But, Stevie he's the man. He's going to go, he fishes all the time. It really doesn't matter what it is. He's pitching. He's pitching lures. He's pitching. So, I don't know. I'm super
and he won't
proud.
Stop.
No, I'm so proud of that dude. Catfish is the same way. The guy, he's the machine, and 500 times the fisherman I'll ever be. So, yeah, and growing up with those guys, and then to now, night and day. Not night and day, but like you could see it. If you were there, you could see that develop. But I never would have thought Stevie would be, the outdoorsman he is. Catfish, you
knew it from the beginning.
It's inevitable.
Yeah.
Yeah. As soon as you heard it was 2 copperheads.
Well, I think we definitely did that one some justice.
Amen.
From your topic hat. The Better the Hunt topic hat, that is.
Guys.
Good time, fellas. Good time.
Lot going on this summer.
There's some things coming up.
Got some cool stuff coming up. As always, just thank you so much.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
We got some jerky we're hawking.
I was just going to say.
Oh, yeah. Head over to was it mfjerky.com and use the promo code JerkyPursuits15 to get 15% off your entire order.
Yeah.
Also, check them out because they have a new shipping deal. It's cheaper. They reduced their price on it. Yeah, it's a lot better deal than what they had. It's awesome.
And in addition to the jerky, they have some delicious meat sticks too to offer out there too. So
I'm hung up on those. Those are like the best.
Shh, don't tell everybody. I'm not going to be able to get them now.
Yeah. Well, they can keep eating Slim Jims because I'm going to eat these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And delicious. The coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't forget the coffee.
My wife actually saw them at my wife actually saw them at the local market, the farmer's market, and taste tested their coffee and said it was delicious. So we need to order a bag.
You'll be putting that in a French press at your house, won't you?
Oh, of course.
All right. I wouldn't expect anything.
No, we have the cheapest coffee maker ever. We're not that special in coffee.
All right. Just checking.
Yeah, absolutely. And anytime going forward that we can find a company that is willing to put forth a little bit of value that we can pass on to you guys, we're going to do it. So appreciate Moses Family Jerky for stepping up and doing that.
But also it's a company that we believe in and we use their product.
Absolutely.
So,
guys.
Yes, sir.
How can they find us?
They can find us at rutandriverpursuits.com. And, of course, the podcast itself can be heard on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Castbox. Be sure to check us out on all the social media outlets. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Just search Rut and River Pursuits. Of course, the
YouTube.
Of course, the YouTube channel is Rut and River Pursuits Podcast. Check out all the goings on there. And as I always say, make sure you find us individually. Check stuff out. We like to share it across the board, but everybody's always got something going on. So
$2 blowing up, I heard.
That's what I heard. And that Steve Miser.
Yeah.
Look out.
Look out.
That guy.
Pass Through Archery is doing something special this week.
Oh, true.
Yeah, he's been posting more.
Yeah.
Been trying. I mean, that guy's been trying.
Awesome, guys.
All right.
We'll see ya.
See you soon.
Peace.
Appreciate y'all.
Reagan Wheeler. Kind
of behind you, but you can see Denver down to like the city, like the skyline. So it's pretty awesome.
Sunshine State.
Yeah, but it was a nice we landed. Yeah, it's not it at all. But we landed. It was 97 degrees.
I thought the Rocky Mountains would be rockier.
John Denver is not accurate.
Man. Well, I guess that leaves Deeky. Where are you at, bud? Where are your memories?
I have two that are pretty strong. I know it was like the earliest. But
I used to make my own lures and pitch them at bluefish.
No.
So I was born into a family that had a yacht club.
Okay, I'll skip that story. No.